Imagine making millions of dollars, being the face of the biggest wrestling company in the world, having millions of fans who worship you, and then you discover that your own employers have been slowly killing you. CM Punk found a deadly infection growing inside his body while WWE doctors told him it was nothing, gave him the wrong medicine for months, and when he finally spoke up, they tried to destroy his life with lawsuits. This man walked away from $15 million because staying would have literally killed him. WWE's medical staff misdiagnosed a life-threatening MRSA infection as a harmless lump, and when Punk exposed this on a podcast, the company went to war against him for 7 years. You think you know wrestling scandals? You haven't heard anything yet. Hit that subscribe button right now because what I'm about to tell you will change how you see WWE forever. And this is just the beginning of the most shocking story in wrestling history. CM Punk wasn't supposed to become the voice of a generation. Born Phil Brooks in Chicago, he was just another guy grinding in high school gyms and community centers, refusing to drink alcohol or do drugs while everyone around him partied. His straight-edge lifestyle made him an outsider in a business built on excess, but it also made him authentic in ways that scripted promos never could. When WWE signed him in 2006, they stuck him in their developmental territory and hoped he'd learn to play their game. But Punk had other plans. While WWE tried to mold him into another cookie-cutter superstar, he kept pushing boundaries. His promos felt real because they were real. He wasn't reading from a script about fictional problems, he was talking about actual frustrations with the company, actual issues with the industry, and actual feelings about being held back. WWE executives didn't know whether to embrace him or fire him. Then came June 27, 2011. Punk's contract was expiring, and instead of quietly negotiating behind closed doors, he grabbed a microphone and dropped a nuclear bomb on live television. Sitting cross-legged on the stage, he told the world that WWE was going to be in trouble when Vince McMahon died because his idiotic daughter and doofus son-in-law would run the company into the ground. He called out John Cena, he called out The Rock, and he told everyone exactly what was wrong with professional wrestling. The microphone was cut off mid-sentence, but the damage was done. The pipe bomb promo became wrestling's most talked-about moment in years. WWE had a choice. They could punish Punk for speaking his mind, or they could capitalize on the buzz he created. They chose money. Punk signed a new contract and became WWE champion just a few weeks later. For 434 days, he carried that championship and became the face of the company. Merchandise sales went through the roof. Crowd reactions were deafening. He was main-eventing pay-per-views and breaking attendance records. By every metric that mattered, CM Punk was the biggest star in professional wrestling. But success came with a price. The longer his championship reign lasted, the more WWE seemed to resent it. When part-time wrestlers like The Rock came back for big shows, Punk was pushed aside despite being the champion. At the Royal Rumble in 2013, he lost his title to The Rock after holding it for over a year, setting up a WrestleMania main event between The Rock and John Cena that completely ignored the full-time champion who had carried the company. That's when the real problem started. After losing the championship, Punk found himself stuck in the middle of the card despite still being one of WWE's most popular wrestlers. While part-time stars got the spotlight at WrestleMania, Punk was relegated to a mid-card match against The Undertaker. It was still a great match, but for someone who had just finished the longest WWE Championship reign in 25 years, it felt like a massive step backward. The 2013 to 2014 period became a nightmare for Punk. He was working hurt, dealing with injuries that kept piling up, but WWE's schedule didn't slow down. He needed time off to heal, but the company kept booking him for house shows and television tapings. His body was breaking down, his creative frustrations were mounting, and his relationship with WWE management was getting worse by the week. Behind the scenes, Punk was dealing with health issues that WWE's medical staff either couldn't or wouldn't properly diagnose. He had a lump on his back that kept getting bigger and more painful. WWE's doctor kept telling him it was just a fatty deposit, nothing to worry about. They gave him antibiotics and told him to keep working through the pain. For months, Punk wrestled with this mysterious condition, while WWE medical staff dismissed his concerns. The final straw came at the Royal Rumble in 2014. Punk was eliminated early from the 30-man match, and the crowd in Pittsburgh turned on the entire show. Fans knew Punk deserved better, and they made their feelings known by hijacking the rest of the event. But instead of recognizing that their top star was being misused, WWE management blamed Punk for the crowd's reaction. The next night, Punk had a meeting with Vince McMahon and Triple H that would change everything. According to Punk, he laid out all his frustrations, the creative problems, the health issues, the lack of respect from management. He expected them to work together to solve these problems. Instead, the meeting turned confrontational. By the time it was over, Punk had made a decision that shocked everyone who knew him. He was walking away from WWE, walking away from millions of dollars in guaranteed money, and walking away from the wrestling business entirely. WWE didn't announce Punk's departure. They just quietly removed him from storylines and hoped fans would forget about him. But Punk's absence became the story. Fans chanted his name at every show. Social media exploded with questions about where he went. Wrestling websites speculated about potential returns. WWE's silence only made the situation worse. For 10 months, Punk stayed quiet about his departure. Then, in November 2014, he appeared on his friend Colt Cabana's podcast and revealed the dark truth behind his WWE exit. The health issues that WWE medical staff had dismissed as minor, they turned out to be life-threatening. The lump on his back wasn't a fatty deposit. It was a dangerous MRSA infection that could have killed him if left untreated. For months, WWE's doctor had been giving him the wrong medication while the infection spread through his body. Punk revealed that he had been wrestling with concussion symptoms that WWE medical staff ignored. He talked about being forced to work through injuries because the company prioritized their television schedule over wrestler health. He described a toxic work environment where speaking up about legitimate medical concerns was seen as complaining or making excuses. The podcast sent shockwaves through the wrestling industry. Other wrestlers started sharing their own stories about WWE's medical staff and the pressure to work through injuries. But WWE wasn't going to take these accusations quietly. They fired back with lawsuits, claiming Punk had defamed the company and their medical staff. WWE's doctor filed his own lawsuit demanding millions in damages for harm to his reputation. The legal battle dragged on for years. Punk had to hire expensive lawyers and spend countless hours preparing for depositions and court appearances. The stress of fighting WWE in court while dealing with his own physical and mental health recovery took a massive toll. He later admitted that leaving WWE sent him into a deep depression that took years to overcome. During his time away from wrestling, Punk tried other ventures. He trained for mixed martial arts and fought twice in the UFC, losing both fights but earning respect for his willingness to try something completely new. He did commentary for smaller fighting promotions and took acting roles in independent films, but wrestling fans never stopped asking when he would return to the ring. The answer came 7 years later, on August 20, 2021, when Punk shocked the wrestling world by appearing at an AEW event in Chicago. The crowd reaction was deafening. Grown men cried. Wrestling fans who had given up hope finally got their hero back. Punk's return proved that his popularity had never diminished despite 7 years away from the business. Looking back at Punk's WWE exit, it's clear that both sides made mistakes. WWE prioritized short-term profits over long-term star development and wrestler health. They had one of the most popular wrestlers in the world and managed to drive him away through poor creative decisions and medical negligence. But Punk's story also shows what can happen when wrestlers stand up for themselves and refuse to accept mistreatment. The wrestling industry has changed significantly since Punk's departure. Other promotions like AEW have emerged to offer wrestlers more creative freedom and better working conditions. WWE has updated their medical protocols and concussion policies, partly in response to criticisms raised by Punk and other wrestlers. The conversation about wrestler health and safety that Punk started with his podcast appearance has led to real improvements across the industry. Punk's WWE exit wasn't just about one wrestler leaving one company. It was about an industry reckoning with how it treats its performers. It was about the difference between being a star and being respected as a human being. It was about the cost of speaking truth to power in a business built on maintaining fictional narratives. Today, CM Punk is back in wrestling, but on his own terms. His story serves as both a cautionary tale about what can go wrong when corporate interest override human decency and an inspiring example of what can happen when someone refuses to compromise their values for money. He walked away from millions of dollars because his health and self-respect were worth more than any paycheck. The dark truth behind CM Punk's WWE exit isn't just about one company's failures or one wrestler's frustrations. It's about an entire industry that had to learn the hard way that the people who risk their bodies for entertainment deserve better treatment than they were getting. Punk's sacrifice helped change wrestling for the better, even if it took 7 years for him to get the recognition he deserved. That's the real story behind one of wrestling's most shocking departures. It wasn't about money or ego or creative differences, though those played a part. It was about a man who decided his life was worth more than his career, and who had the courage to walk away when staying would have destroyed him. If you enjoyed this deep dive into wrestling's hidden stories, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell so you never miss our latest videos. Let me know in the comments what other wrestling mysteries you want us to investigate next, and I'll see you in the next one.